that lady in that. So, to go through all of that, end up the walking thing, I didn't even all the way get 100% walking well to after being out the hospital. I spent Thanksgiving in ICU. It was very dark. I couldn't see my child for 2 months straight because they didn't allow children
Yeah.
in that area, and that was the hardest part for me right there. Not seeing my child care. She's 11 years old now, and it was really hurting her too. She would send me just pictures and videos of us every single night.
Mhm.
Every night she would just send me pictures, send me videos. So it was a very huge moment when I finally, was able to get out and see. Uh, and here's the thing, Jonathan. I was thinking, how am I gonna do this acting? Who wants to hire the guy with the sleeves and all this?
Mhm.
Daniel Boxdale offered me my second contract when I was in the hospital. They were
Wow.
supposed to go on tour the next year, very next year. My recovery was going to take at least a year. Daniel Boxdale put the entire production on hold, all these obligations, all these venues he had talked to. He had put that, it could have put his career in jeopardy, not staying in the flow. You know how it goes. You get out the flow at one moment, next thing you know, it's not the same when you
Yep.
get back to it.
Yep.
He put his entire production on hold for a year and a half and said, Anthony, I'm not doing this until 100% ready.
Mm.
That put a light in another, that put fuel in me to work as hard as I possibly can. I was always very overly serious when I do my crafts or my work. I'm a jokester in person online, but I'm very serious about craft my work. I want to
Yeah.
be prepared. I want to be ready. So yeah, honestly, everything happens for a reason. I still look at, my little marks and scars, think about
Mhm.
burn victims, burn survivors. I like that I like coin that phrase better. You can go through something with an accident or anything, and you move on mentally or physically, or
Mhm.
with a burn survivor, you see it every day.
Yep.
You're going to
Yep.
see it. Is no escaping.
Yeah.
So that's another set, of obstacles for me. And in the physical part, I never would imagine that it would be this hard to be back regular again.
Yeah.
You know, so I still go through things every day. Different pains here and there, and my legs might get a little too stiff, but I just stay working, stay moving, because somebody didn't make it through that fire.
Yeah. You right. You right.
Somebody didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? And I was in the ICU room, and I couldn't feel sorry for myself because right beside me there was a 2-year-old child
Mhm.
who had gotten burned up somehow, accident, and I would hear them working on that 2-year-old child every night. The child scream. You know what I mean? Because they got to do wound care, which is a very very painful process. For the people at home, burn survivors, they go through a lot. Wound care is basically if you have open, have wounds that's wrapped up, that's cool, fine. But every single day they want to unwrap it and they want to scrub it,
Mm.
clean it every single day.
Wow.
It's a very very painful process. Getting back into showers is a very very painful process. So it was a lot. It was a lot, and mentally, the Lord just kept me there. My family and the Lord, man. My mother, my Aunt Curry, my family, really, my brother, my cousin MJ, the Daniel Boxdale crew, the whole production crew came to see me. That kept me mentally going. And
Mentally.
in the midst of this, my career denies the workers' comp. So not only am I fighting for my life now,
Mm.
financially, I'm thinking my career's gone, and I don't know how to get over this $700,000 bill that's sitting there looking at me from VCU.
Yeah.
That was a depressing moment when they talk about wheelchairs, they're lining up what the workers' comp going to pay for, and their representative from VCU walked into that room. She had a look of sob in her eyes, and she said, "Anthony, your job's not paying."
Mm.
I said, "I'm sorry. What do you mean? Like I've been doing print for 13 years. They know me. I thought we was family. I'd done everything by the book. Even I had pointed out that the way we were doing this job was dangerous. We're using a different chemical on this job that we have too many flammable variants around here."
Mhm.
And I had text messages me saying to supervisors, so I couldn't believe that, what I was telling them could happened to me. And then they denied my workers' comp.
Yeah.
So that was the lowest point. And I cried. I don't cry. I cried then. And because, it's like, okay, my future, I don't know. So, long story short, my cousin Annette, she's a well-known doctor in Richmond area, and I think you need to go to court. That's what ended up happening. I ended up, um, shout out to Marks and Harrison law firm in Richmond, Virginia. Those guys heard my story on a Friday, and by Monday they called me and said, "We're taking your case." I said, "I don't have any money. It's pro bono. You got this." And I thank the Lord for everything I went through. And that entire case was done in 6 months.
Yeah.
And so now I can fully focus on my passions and not worrying about clocking in for somebody else. My thing is, and I'll never do that job again, because my rule is if I almost die on the job, time to go. I didn't sign up to be a policeman. I didn't sign up to be a firefighter or anything like that. I have family. I have a child to be here for. So I knew that was gone. So I'm thanking the Lord after the fact, because now I have all this time to do everything that I wanted to do that I couldn't do. So everything happens for a reason. And, I don't have any ill will towards anybody either that may have done me wrong in that process. At the end of the day, you almost got to thank them, honestly, because, the growth that you have in the end of overcoming obstacles, overcoming people doing you wrong, man, it builds so much character.
Yeah.
And so definitely, where we're at right now, so you segue if you need to move on, but it brought me to this point to where I can do what I love and I can really hone in on it, So yeah, everything's a go now, from public speaking to acting and comedy, my sports gambling page, wedding reception host. I do that too. And I just learned the gist of things. I learned the LLC, get your business together, get your business right. So I have 2 LLCs, Train Files LLC and That Boy Good Entertainment LLC. And yeah, man, that's where it's at right now. And I'm very thankful.
Yeah, so let's go back to that accident for a second. Like March of last year, March 15th, I had a brain tumor removed, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So being diagnosed 2 years prior, it's like this level of uncertainty. Okay. You know what I mean? So having to operate, I remember the day when they told me, like, yeah, it's time for us to go in and get it. And things start to set in, you know what I mean? So being diagnosed and just watching, wait, okay, cool, life is normal. When they told me that, it didn't really set in, right? Because it was like early November. So when we decided to have the surgery to be March, that way we can get through the holiday, Christmas.
Okay.
Then we'll tell the family when it gets right before, because we don't want to, damper anybody's time, and then they're asking questions.
Okay.
But the amount of worry I had was different. Leading up to that, I didn't know what fear was. Like the stuff I was fearing was dumb stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Like what people would think.
Yeah.
I was like, I wouldn't even say it was fear. I think it was more anxiety, because when God blessed me with this situation, to have my head cut open, and then you look at the risk of down on the table, having a stroke, aneurysm, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So talk about the mindset, because it really blessed me with the mindset that I have now, because I didn't know what fear was. Like when I look back at that, I'm like, man, I can do anything now.
Man,
if I can
mindset.
Come out of that, I can come out like, what are you going to throw at me?
All of that, you can attest to this, going through near-death experiences, you really see what life is, and you really see what matters and what doesn't.
Yep.
You're here one time. That's what it let me know for sure. You're here one time. And what people think, I really want to emphasize this to my young creators. It does not matter what they think at all. The next day, they're going to get up, they're going to go to work, they're going to be around their family, they're going to do their daily routines, and they're not going to think about you tried this content video that didn't work like you wanted to. You may have looked stupid today. That's all right. Once you go through experiences like that, and hopefully people can hear stories like mine and yours, and they can learn from hearing a story instead of going through it. But just know that, this part of your life, and I got to do a real shout out to my good friend, Day Williams. This point of your life is like a grain of salt in a beach of eternity. So whatever you're going through, whatever you think is the end of the world or whatever, it's literally a grain of sand on a beach of eternity of your lifeline, of your timeline of life after death, whatever you believe in. So that's what helped me to go to a much higher level with what I'm doing. No question.